glad to see you in 2017, and I figure for the foreseeable future, we're going to get back on point and focus on urban survival. So in this episode, we're going to look at what an observation post is, its purposes, how to set one up, and how an observation post fits into the overall strategy of defending your neighborhood from a marauding force. So let's get down to it. We're going to run through a few different scenarios. I'm going to show you some of the gear that I have here, and we're just going to go ahead and work through this, talk it out, and see what we can get going. Okay, so what is an observation post? Well, simply put, this is just a site that you can sit up in with somebody else providing security, and you can observe what goes on around you. Now, typically, you would set up this observation post along the probable entry and exit routes, let's say a main road off the interstate, where you can sit and you can observe enemy movement through that location. And this information can be actionable right on the spot. You can be sitting up there and you can be relaying information back to a fire team. Hey, there's 2 tanks that just passed me, and 3 APCs, and some guys on foot, and that fire team can act on that information appropriately. You could have information that you sit up and you collect for days on end, just tracking vehicles and movement and just observing the area around you. So in a nutshell, that's what an observation post is. It's just somewhere where you sit and you watch, and that's pretty much it. Now, how is that useful to you? Well, let's think about this. New Orleans, Katrina, how those neighborhoods got attacked, right? The neighborhoods had to come together as a team to defend themselves from looters, right? And what better way to do that is if up on the outskirts of the neighborhood, there's a couple abandoned houses that are run down or whatever, or sites that have been damaged by the hurricane or the natural disaster. You can occupy those positions and you can provide intelligence back on what's going on around you. And these are set up on the perimeters of the neighborhood. So once I started thinking about Katrina and I saw those scenarios, I've seen some other scenarios out in Ukraine with the rise of that civil war back in 2014. It got me thinking about how an observation post can be useful in an urban survival SHTF type of scenario. So that's kind of what the observation post is in a nutshell, how it can be used for you. And then finally, we're going to talk about, hey, how do you figure out where to put one of these things? Is it over here a good site? Is it over here? How do you determine a good site for that observation post? Okay, so the first factor you want to consider when you're setting up an observation post is how much observability do I have? What kind of view do I have from this position? Is it some just tiny peephole view, very narrow focus, where I only have this small area to observe activity? Or is this nice wide-angle lens view that I can use and I can see a lot of what's going on around me? Obviously, the second option is what you want. You want an op with maximum range of observability, as I call it, right? So that's the first factor to consider. The second one is cover and concealment. That op needs to be covered and concealed. You want both of those factors going on. And why? Well, I'll tell you why. Cover is a hell of a lot different than concealment, and you got to know the difference. This is cover right here. You see this? Block concrete. It's going to take a few rounds to come through this wall right here and hurt me, right? Now, concealment, totally different ball game. I can be hiding down those weeds out there and I'm concealed and you're not going to see me until somebody opens up on me with a light machine gun and I'm done, right? So knowing the difference between those two is important, especially when selecting your observation post. So that's the second factor to keep in mind, cover and concealment. And then the third one is a concealed entrance route and exit route from that observation post. And that's pretty much it. Those are the 3 big ones. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take you on a tour of my beautiful observation post that I have set up here, and we're going to talk about the gear that I use to get the job done. So let's get down to it. So this is the observation post. As you can see, it's pretty damn well concealed. There's a road right back over here that you see right there. And I've driven down this road so many times and I have never ever seen any of these 4 structures back here, ever. Until one day I just happened to be glancing off in this area and noticed it. And then of course I was all over it. So that is kind of the view from the observation post. You see I got a pretty good field of view there. It's not terrible, but it can get a lot better because I actually have 3 different fields of view that I can use depending on what I'm doing. So let's go check things out. So that was one point of observation, but I can go ahead and choose to move south down from the observation post, which is right here. I can choose to move down this ridge line, and you can see there's a whole tons of potential for observation sitting up on this high ground up here. Obviously you're not going to sit up on the actual ridge line because that's going to kind of silhouette you. You're going to sit back on that military crest and observe what you need to observe. But anyways, that's a second field of view, of observation that I have available to me. And right there in the distance is a major interstate. So I would imagine in the event of some sort of hostile takeover, there'd be a lot of vehicles moving down this road that you see here in front of me. Now you guys see that window right up there? That's another spot where I can set up and observe and have a little more elevation over the whole situation and probably have a bit more observability, a little wider angle view that I can use versus being straight down on the ground. Probably the best part about this op is that doorway you see right in front of you. I can literally stand in that doorway with my binoculars and still have a pretty decent field of view to be able to collect intelligence on. So let me show you how that works. Here we are in the observation post itself. You can see I got maximum cover on that wall, on this wall, then back over here there's a back door, and then lots and lots of cover, except of course you got to take into account these windows right here. But that pretty much covers me, no pun intended, on three sides. I got to secure that door or potentially use it as an exit route, and then my entrance route is directly through here. So that pretty much covers a tour of the observation post. Let's go ahead and check out the gear. Okay, so what you're seeing here is the contents of my first line gear. This means the gear that I carry directly on my person. So we're going to go from right to left, starting with the mechanics gloves here. Now these things, great pair of range gloves and just all around beating around the bush kind of operation. So got these with me. I got my new Barska binoculars. These things are working out really well. Very easy to focus, has a pretty fine focus too, pretty precise, which I was impressed with, and a good deal. You know, it's obviously chosen for its size versus a pair of compact binoculars. So we got those. Then here, got this new Gerber impromptu tactical pen. I could not pass up this deal. It was under $40 on Amazon. Retail for this is $76, and now I've been unable to find these for anything less than $50, $60 range. So if you can find one of these, suggest picking one of them up. They got an integrated glass breaker right there, you see, and then right in the rain tip. So good all-around pen. Got good old all-weather notebook. Can't go wrong with that. Then got this little pen light right here, which clips on my interior pocket of my jeans. The name, the manufacturer of this escapes me at the moment. I believe it's, okay, yeah, if you can see that, Streamlight Micro Stream. So this is another good deal. Great little pen flashlight. Obviously got a Bic lighter, always have one of those. Here's my trusty SOG Flash 2. I've had this thing for years, and you can tell by the beautiful wearing on that blade. No scratching or anything or chipping. It just wears really nice. So great blade. And then finally, this goes in the upper pocket of my 511 jacket, and this is just a nice little boo-boo kit, you know, bandages and basic first aid stuff, nothing trauma related. So that's the contents of the first line kit. Let's go ahead and look at what I got in the actual sling pack, and then we'll wrap up. So this compact little sling bag is a 3V Gear Posse. I did a video on this back in October 2015, I believe. There's a link for you guys to go check it out. The point is, this bag has been serving me well in a variety of roles since then, and this is just another aspect where I can utilize this bag. It's just black, it doesn't have any camo patterns, and it just works in this type of environment. So let's get down to it, see what I got going on here. For starters, we're going to go ahead and look at this outer pocket. I got a camera for recording stuff, right? Never a bad idea. Obviously, I got a tripod that I'm using here as well, so I can utilize this up and use it to film, right? I got a compass. Now, probably a little bit overkill because I have GPS on my phone, and this area is not exactly huge, but it's always nice to have, just in case, right? So, that's all I got in this main pocket here, just a compass and a camera for recording activity. On the outside, you'll notice I got this Friendly Swede paracord wrap Never know when paracord is going to come in handy, especially when you're doing stuff like this. So I just attach it to the outside and I'm good to go. So that's this. Let's go ahead and look at this pocket right here. And we got a few goodies going on in here. First thing you're going to notice is the multi-tool. Can't go wrong with that. I gotta have that. Then we got these little easy wet wipes, right? These are compact towels. Check that out. Pretty cool, right? Add water and they get real big, right? About that big, I'd say. Nothing too crazy, but enough to wipe down with, use as toilet paper or whatever sanitation needs you got going on. But anyways, got those. Then here's an anchor charger for my cell phone and for my camera. You see it's a perfect size, you know, about the size as they advertise of a large candy bar, and it just fits in here. Because why do I care about my phone? Well, because I got GPS on there. That's another recording device, and I gotta have that. And then of course it also charges my camera, which is another recording device, so gotta have one of these chargers. And then here in this bag, this is what the charger shipped in, and I got 2 different cables, one for my iPhone and one for my camera. And that's pretty much it, except let me see, I got one other thing in here. Oh yeah, some bug spray. Yeah, no, it's not the season, but having some bug spray on hand, especially if you're sitting up in a static position for a period of time, never a bad idea. So I'm going to have that, and when the spring summer months come, I'll be glad I stowed that in there. So that's the contents of that outer pocket, not the outer pocket, but anyways, we covered this area. Now let's go ahead and look at this top pocket right here. And what do we got in here? Nothing crazy, right? I got a lighter, a little bit of wet fire, Silcock key, and some water purification tabs, and then some paracord, and that's about it. Really don't need anything else. I don't plan on sitting up in here and doing a ton of cooking, creating that smell and those sounds and that light, because this observation post needs to be a discrete position, at least for now, until I get a better hang on things and the activity that I see around me. So that covers the bag, outer compartments. Let's go ahead and look at the inner one. So first up, I got to have some water, a little bit of hydration. This is the biggest size that I could fit in that sling pack, and if you guys have noticed, there's a reoccurring theme in my videos where I like to build out the bare bones basic kit for the mission at hand and then build up from there. So that's what I'm doing with this. Down the road, if this observation post works out as a secure site for me, I'll stock it with some food and water. But for now, I just need a little something to sip on and nothing more. So that's that. Now over here, we got my 2-way radio. This is the Baofeng UV5R, and I got nothing bad to say about this thing. So let's have a look at it real quick here. Now this radio is absolutely exceptional. It's a dual band FM transceiver, so that means I got FM radio right there. I got VHS band right here. So I have the option of talking to other compatible devices. I have 128 channels of programmable memory, and just a lot of other options on this thing. I got a belt clip on the back. This antenna can be replaced with a longer one, and the price ain't bad either. I think it was 30 bucks on Amazon, so you really can't go wrong with that. And then what else did this thing come with? Oh yeah, I almost forgot. It also came with this earpiece right here. So all that combined gives me just another form of communication. Now bear in mind, don't take a whole bunch of credence in the manufacturer description of radios like this. I think the max range for this effective was like 30 miles or something ridiculous. Yeah, that's great if you're out in the desert, but in an urban environment like this, I'd say you'd be lucky to get 2-3 miles max out of this thing, and hey, that works. That almost gets me back to my house. So hey, not bad. So this is a great device, and if you're in the market for a starter radio like myself that you can learn from, then highly suggest picking this bad boy up. But we got the radio here, put that down, and then for first aid, it's nothing super fancy. I got what you would think for trauma. I got a cat tourniquet, some sterile gloves, let's see here, this is a trauma wound dressing, and there's some C-locks buried in the bottom. I'm just too lazy to get it out. But anyways, that kit can always be upgraded, but for now, this is working fine. So That's contents of that main compartment. Alright guys, so that's about it. We've talked about observation posts, how they can be used, how to set them up, how they relate to you in a post-collapse type environment. I've showed you around my lovely observation post, and we've talked about the kit. So what else is there? I want to hear from you guys. Tell me what I need to maybe add to this. Keeping in mind the application of this kit. You know, we're not talking about wilderness survival. I don't need a tarp. I don't need a sleeping bag. I don't need all that other kind of stuff. This type of setup is specifically for observing, you know, so maybe, hell, some night vision might come in great, right? Maybe some sort of vehicle identification card where I could mark down the types of vehicles that are coming through the area, you know, with just, I'm thinking this card has, you know, a silhouette of a tank, a silhouette of a truck, a silhouette of a car, and I can just make tick marks next to each one of those, and pretty sure those exist, and I'm pretty sure a couple of my friends have told me what those are called. Can't remember what the hell it is off the top of my head, but these are a couple of things that thoughts are going through my mind that would come in real handy and useful if I'm sitting up here in a real world situation observing, collecting intelligence, right? That kind of good stuff. And then, you know, maybe for the iPhone I can install some different apps to create a secure encrypted channel for communications. These types of things that I don't know because I haven't been there done yet, so I'm working through what I've read and what makes sense to me. So I want to hear from you guys, especially from you guys with that type of experience. And in the meantime, I got to do a little exploring around here. I think there's some more structures north of me that I'm going to check out. And that's it. You guys know the drill. Get out there and train, and stay tuned for the next episode. I'll talk to you later. Peace.